final kneel down, and there it is. Undefeated and the three-peats. Back to back to back. And the celebration again on Jonah Field for the Star Valley Braves, your 2024 3A state champion.
Hey! Welcome back. Well, I should say welcome me back because I got picked back up. Congratulations to the state champion Star Valley football Braves as well. Should say that. But congratulations to me because I'm back on your TV screens. They wanted a little bit more of me, so we're moving it up a day early. Wednesday nights are now for sports as we get ready for the winter season. We're talking basketball. We're talking wrestling. We're talking indoor track. We're talking winter sports, and it's all right here. Sports night. I'm Jake Hibbard, and I am so excited to be back. Like I said, we're moving it up to Wednesday nights because, well, basketball, they like to get started on Thursday, including tomorrow. We've got the Bill Stranigan Invitational with both the boys and girls in action. Let's take a look at that schedule. Tomorrow afternoon, the girls kick off the season first, Star Valley versus Evanston at 3 o'clock, followed by a 4:30 boys matchup. Then on Friday, it's the girls first up against Cheyenne Central at 2 o'clock, the boys next up at 3:30, and Saturday, it's an 11 o'clock, 12:30 matchup, girls followed by the boys against Cheyenne East. And today, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the boys basketball program. Starting off, who are they facing? Who's back? Who's gone? Who's new? Who's in Kansas? For a lot of locals, not the most exciting game to start things off. Evanston, Star Valley. Yeah, we'll see that the rest of the year. Hey! Evanston, you seen Evanston? Yeah, we saw Evanston. We're good. There's only so many teams in Wyoming, I guess. So the first game for these two teams could end up being the last, as they'll meet again in the regional tournament, maybe. But as for the other two opponents, after we get Evanston, it's Central and then Cheyenne East. So you get a look at the other side of the state, including the state defending champs, Central. But when it comes to Central, not so much similar about them. Last year's Central team that went 25-3 and won the state title was led by Joe Sawyer offensively with 15.5 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, and the number 2 and 3 offensive options were Sam Shumway and Chase Talich. All of those guys are gone from last year's team, and their coach, Jim Schaefer, yeah, he's gone too. He's off in Kansas somewhere, coaching as an assistant for JUCO. Highlighted here are this year's rostered varsity players with prior experience at this level and what they averaged a year ago. As you can see, it's pretty much starting from scratch. So there's not too much to say about Central until, well, we see them. But before we get to Central, of course, we've got that Evanston game. So let's take a look at what Evanston is bringing back. They've got a coach and several key returners coming back, which is more than some other teams can say. The Devils went 13-15 last year, led by Clayton Cook with 9.8 points per game, 6.8 rebounds. Riker Lind was probably the number 2 option. He averaged 8 points. And after that, Kai Barker averaged just under 7, and Cohen Morrow just over 6. Highlighted here are the players returning and set to suit up against Star Valley tomorrow, and what they offered statistically last year. And then finally, Cheyenne East. This is a program that's had Rusty Horsley at the helm for the last several years after he took over the boys program after several years in charge of the girls T-Birds program. Their new coach, Sly Johnson, longtime assistant under Rusty Horsley, is a former Casper College and University of Wyoming Cowboy basketball player who logged nearly 1,000 minutes of Division I basketball. So he knows what he's doing. He knows this program. But as we take a look at what's coming back, what is this T-Birds team going to look like this year? A 22-8 record a season ago. Well, up in the air how they'll be this year because Drew Jackson, their leading scorer, 17.5 points and 3 assists per game, gone, as is their number 2 and 3 options. Cam Hayes at 12 points and 5 rebounds, also their leading board getter, and Nathan Mirich at 11 points and 4 rebounds. Highlighted here are the returning players who saw varsity time last season and what they averaged in their time. Now, I caught up with Coach Matt Shumway for the Star Valley Braves boys team, and I would have loved to have asked him about Central, East, and of course Evanston. We'll see them a lot, right? But if you remember my season finale in the fall, you'll remember I said my goal for the year was no coaches quotes. And what's the surest way to get a coach's quote early in the year in basketball? So coach, what are we looking at with these new opponents? Well, Jake, we're just not too focused on what our opponents are doing right now. We're more focused on ourselves. I know better than that, which is why I didn't ask about their opponents. No! Hey, coach, What do you got to say about your team?
We like to play up tempo. We like to get up and down the court. Big on ball movement, sharing the basketball, finding the right man at the right time.
And maybe this is just me, but I always like to know where a coach is coming from. Shout out to ESPN Classic for teaching me the old NFL coaching trees. So I asked Coach Shumway, what's his lineage?
The guy I coached under in Preston, there's a lot of breakoffs from his system that he actually learned from his dad, Terry Jones, who's a legend in Idaho coaching circles. Bigger picture, there's some elements of like the North Carolina fast break that's in there. Basketball just in general has become very up-tempo.
Coach Shumway is absolutely right. For example, let's take a look at the scoring in Wyoming basketball back in the 2006-07 season. And then let's take a look at how it's progressed to now. Oh, boy. Boy, hold on. Never mind about Wyoming. That's a different issue, and we've got a shot clock coming to fix that. Let's take a look at the NBA scoring over that same time period from then to now. Yeah, that's a little bit more like what I'm talking about and what Coach Shumway's talking about. The three ball and up-tempo basketball has led to more scoring across all leagues. And yeah, we're coming for you too, Wyoming. But today I want to focus on something that Coach Shumway mentioned, that famous North Carolina fast break offense. What's that mean? And what's that look like for Star Valley? The first aspect to this North Carolina fast break is a quick inbound pass. That allows the point guard to start pushing the ball, and the first look is to try to catch the lead big down low streaking to the basket. We see this here with Star Valley's Cash Lancaster inbounding it quickly to Cooper Lancaster, who moves ahead to Zane Hedges, the lead big streaking, who gets fouled, then heads to the line. Another necessity in the Carolina break, an athletic point guard who can finish on their own if the streaking big isn't there in time or if they're covered. We'll see 3 or 4 guys play point guard depending on how the break starts, just as we saw Cash Lancaster last year take the point off a steal and finish with the Euro step for the 2. Now let's say the rim runner gets shut down and the streaking point guard can't get any space. Fast break over, right? No, wrong. This is the next step in the UNC break. There's a trail big as well. Their job is to set a pick for the point guard, who can now drive to the bucket for a shot. We saw this last year in Star Valley with Cash Lancaster starting the break on a steal, where Cooper's covered as the lead man and there's no room for Cash to drive. So the trail big of Simon Gaskell does his job, sets the pick for the point, and Cash is able to drive to the bucket. Now let's say your trail big sets the pick, your point guard goes through, but the defense covers him. Well, then you have a trail big cutting to the basket with the potential alley-oop. Jumping over to Star Valley's opponent tomorrow, if you've ever been in an Evanston gymnasium and heard, Carolina, this is the play you're about to see. Let's take a look at what else we've got coming up this week in sports. Wrestling kicks off at 2 o'clock tomorrow night at home for the girls' wrestling program. And then they're at Marsh Valley on Friday. The boys will kick off their wrestling season on Friday and Saturday at home in Star Valley. And we'll be taking a look at wrestling, both girls and boys, and girls basketball in weeks to come. That's it for me. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. No highlights for now, but hey, if you're not seeing enough of me, I got a challenge for you. Here's what you do. You find Dal or Duke, you run them down in the streets, you corner them, and you say, hey, I'm not seeing enough of this sports guy. Where's Jake? We'll see if it works. Thanks so much, guys. See you next week.